everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Friday, May the 12th, race number 8 at Belmont Park. Stakes action for 3-year-old sprinters going 3/4 of a mile. It's the $150,000 Gold Fever Stakes. Let's take a peek at this field. Please scan or click the QR code for race of the day access on mobile with free formulator past performances. The number 2 Squire Creek is not only unbeaten from 2 starts, he's also flawless. He's gone gate to wire in both of those races, and Mike, you look pretty good in both of them.
Yeah, I like both of his starts. They also both earned, pretty solid figures for a horse in his first 2 career starts, Dan. And kind of feels like more than anything else, they're going to run him in a little stakes race here for the first time. Feels like Brad Cox has found a really good spot for him.
I agree. We throw up the Timeform US pace projector, and our friends at Timeform US, well, they indicate, according to the pace projector, that Squire Creek speed will play well. He is fast. He should be able to get to the front. And if the number 3 Prove Right, who's right now questionable, according to Dave Grenning's race advance, doesn't go, it's an even bigger pace advantage.
Yeah, that's true. It does feel like the 3, if he does run here, is supposed to show some speed. I'm not sure that he's as fast as Squire Creek anyway, Dan. If he doesn't go here, maybe the 5, the New York bred Andiamo a Firenze, tries to find a little bit more speed in this race. But if not, this horse could be loose.
The number 1, Joey Freshwater, is hoping for a little bit of hitting up front. This has been a great $50,000 claim by trainer Linda Rice. She's won 2 races with Joey Freshwater, including the Grade 3 Bayshore. The race will show you right now, going 7/8 of a mile, and this was a good field that Joey Freshwater handled. The runner-up came back to finish 3rd in last week's Grade 2 Pat Day Mile with a 93 Beyer speed figure. This horse seems to be getting better and better.
Yeah, this was a good performance. I mean, his figure regresses from his prior start, Dan, an allowance race where he came up a little bit short. But he still runs well in here. The margin of victory is not that big. I still thought he won this race pretty easily. I also thought he did it with a really good trip. However, I understand that that horse did come back to run a fast race at his next start. But overall, I didn't like that Bayshore field that much.
Squire Creek, the number 2, made his career debut for Brad Cox, beat a couple of next out winners, then came right back during the Keeneland spring meeting and took a first-level allowance. Here's the latter race at Keeneland, going 3/4 of a mile. Squire Creek set a legitimate pace in this race, Mike, 22-1 for the opening quarter. But I like the gear he showed when set down for the drive under Florent Giroux, and he stayed to his task the final 3/16.
Yeah, I like that too. I mean, he just really never lets these horses get into the race. And according to Timeform US anyway, this pace, they have it color-coded red as a fast one. He had the rail. They really didn't have any choice. They sent him. I really liked that performance. I really liked his career debut at Fairgrounds. He was super impressive winning that day in fast time. And again, it just feels like a great spot. I mean, I guess you have to concern yourself with perhaps the 4 or the 6 in this race, sort of taking a step forward in this race. I think that's possible. But it feels like they're going to have to do that to beat this horse.
Very underrated trainer James Chapman entered 2 in here. Questionable to see whether the 3 Prove Right does compete. He's got a ton of experience. He's already run 15 times, but we saw him in the Bayshore last time out. He was no match for Joey Freshwater. He does have early speed. If he runs, he'll likely try to put some heat on the 2.
Yeah, I agreed. I didn't like his last race really at all. He was no match for Joey Freshwater, and then he got really tired. That was going 7. His race 2 back, I guess if you just look at that one, Dan, it gives him some kind of a chance in here. We'll see if he can run another race like that. I don't think I'd bet him off of any one of his other 14 starts, but he did run a fast race 2 back.
The number 4 Tuskegee Airman is one of the more fascinating horses in this race. I really liked his career debut on Pennsylvania Derby Day last year at Parks for trainer John Service. He just ran off and hid from that field. They tried 2 turns in a stakes race at Delaware in his second start, and he was kind of outrun a little bit on the second turn, dropped down to the rail, and he was able to get up and win under a hard drive. They ran him in the Remsen. It was a tough spot for his final start as a 2-year-old. He ran into Arctic Arrogance. We saw that horse do some good things in New York at 3, second in the Jerome, second in the Withers. Tuskegee Airman, I like him turning back. I think he might be sort of a mid-pack sprinter down the road, but he'll have to deal with a layoff.
Yeah, I sort of agree with your take there, Dan. To me, the most impressive race he ran was his debut, the only time he sprinted. And I know he won a stakes race in his next start with a faster figure, and he ran fine that day, but I wasn't blown away by that performance. I'll I'll give him a pass for the Remsen. It was long. It was over a sloppy track. He didn't run that well. I did really like his debut, though, and I'm interested to see what he does coming back sprinting as a 3-year-old.
The number 5, Andiamo a Firenze, you go over his lines and you see a couple of races where he was well beaten, but all of those races were routes. He is a much better sprint horse. It's what he's bred for, and what's his best races have come going short. Here's his most recent start, the Damon Runyon, where they cut him all the way back after he was well beaten in the withers, and he ran okay. This horse on the lead was able to get to the little bit of a jump on him, turning into the stretch. Andiamo a Firenze tries hard. He just can't get by. Now he's back up against open company, but he does have some early speed and a good outside post.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I agree with you that he tries hard in here, Dan. This is, to me, it's still kind of a tame loss here. He was right up close with this horse, the eventual winner there on the lead. He tried to challenge him coming to the stretch. He couldn't get him. He dropped back a little bit. He tried to make another run at the end there. He was never catching. It was just another race, though, that even with the turn back and getting back in with New York breds, he didn't take a step forward. He ran a couple of really nice races winning as a 2-year-old, and he hasn't surpassed those figures yet.
The other Chapman-trained entrant is a strong contender, and that is the number 6, Drew's Gold. He is perfect from 3 lifetime starts, and going into his most recent race, the Jimmy Winkfield, we wondered if his propensity for breaking slowly would work against him. Well, it didn't, because he broke a lot better. He had a very easy pace situation up front, and he draws away to win as much the best. Now, after this race, he got sick. He ended up being a vet scratch at Laurel on March the 31st. So he's going to come into this race with some questions off a little bit of a layoff.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the only thing that you have to concern yourself with, Dan, is that I guess he's missed a little time after those last 2 starts. To me, this horse has run really well all 3 times that we've seen him, and he certainly has some upside if he's ready off this little bit of a layup. He also has a great post on the outside. I mean, I think he's pretty dangerous in here. We'll see what kind of price he goes off at.
Before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for our Friday stakes race at Belmont Park, the Gold Fever. We're both going to go with Squire Creek. Like you, Mike, I was very impressed with his debut. I think he did what he had to do second time out, and his pace edge might be too much for this field. It just looks like a great spot, and who knows? If he runs well here, maybe we'll see him in the Woody Stevens.
Yeah, I saw all those same things, Dan. We'll see what he does here. Maybe he can take even a little bit of a step forward again. More than anything else, I know he's a short price in here, Dan. I just didn't really like the alternatives.
Mike's going to go 2, 6, 4, and 5. I'm going to go 2, 6, 1, and 5. In the Gold Fever, your Friday race of the day. Good luck.